Hello everyone, welcome again to the course of Malnutrition and Community Health. We are in this particular video, we will be mainly talking about yet another type of nutritional deficiency disorder. The disorder which we will be talking about is the vitamin A deficiency. In this particular video, we will be talking about vitamin A deficiency with respect to its causes, symptoms, and mainly we will be focusing on prevention and treatment strategies. We have already discussed quite briefly about vitamin A deficiency in your unit number 1 as well, right? So with respect to that, in this particular video, we will be mainly focusing on symptoms, preventive strategies, as well as the different schemes which have been, or the program which has been applied in India for prevention of vitamin A deficiency in children. Right. So like I said in our previous lectures, we have already talked about different nutritional problems with respect to either the problem being an underweight status of a child, which mainly relates to malnutrition, in which we have already studied about protein energy malnutrition. We have also talked about the different conditions associated with protein energy malnutrition, which include marasmus, kwashiorkor, the intermediate stage, that is marasmic kwashiorkor. We have also talked about nutritional dwarfing, as well as being underweight or growth retardation in general. Other than that, the second type of nutritional problem is the overindulgence or excess consumption of a particular nutrient as such, and this may lead to problems such as diabetes, obesity, being overweight, high blood pressure, etc. Right? So with respect to all this, we will be talking about our vitamin A deficiency in today's lecture, mainly focusing on the causes, symptoms, prevention strategies and treatment, as well as the diagnostic part of how is this vitamin A deficiency diagnosed. Right. So, like I said, we move on with the causes and introduction, and after watching this video, we will basically try to understand what are the basic concept of how does this deficiency arise and what are the causes associated with this, along with an introductory part. Right. So, like we have previously discussed, vitamin A deficiency or hypovitaminosis, meaning there is going to be a lack of vitamin A which is going to be present in the blood and tissue. Now, as you all know that vitamins are one of the major micronutrients which are essential for functioning of various enzymes. Also, they are involved in different metabolic reactions. These vitamins can be of two types. They can either be water soluble or they can be fat soluble. Your water soluble vitamins mainly include vitamin B and vitamin C, whereas the fat soluble ones mainly includes your vitamin A, D, E and K. Now, being a fat soluble vitamin, it has to be consumed regularly in your diet. That is, the source of vitamin A is mainly dietary. It comes under the essential class of vitamins. And if there is deficiency of this particular vitamin in the diet, it will lead to the deficiency disorder known as the VAD or the vitamin A deficiency. This particular deficiency is very common in either developing countries or poorer countries, and it is mainly known to affect children and women of reproductive ages, that is children in between the age of 5 to 18 years, and similarly women of the reproductive ages are regularly seen to be affected, but it is very rarely seen in developed countries as such. Right. So whenever we talk about vitamin D, vitamin A deficiency or VAD, the first or the major symptom or sign of vitamin A deficiency is the nactalopia, which is also known as night blindness. Night blindness is the first sign that the person or the child individual is suffering from VAD. Other than this, you have xerophthalmia, which is dryness of your eyes, keratomalacia, in which there is melting or liquefaction of the cornea, or complete blindness. Now, when we talk about keratomalacia, it is a very extreme condition as such, right? And complete blindness, if this is not treated or the person is not supplied with adequate amounts of vitamin D, vitamin A in the diet, then the person may suffer from complete blindness as well. This vitamin A, when we talk about its role in vision, its major role is in phototransduction, and this vitamin A basically occurs in three forms, which mainly includes retinal, beta carotene and provitamin A carotenoids. And the deficiency is basically, the deficiency of this particular vitamin A is one of the leading causes of preventable childhood blindness. Preventable childhood blindness as in, if you have identified that night blindness is occurring in the child and the child's food is either fortified or supplemented with vitamin A regularly, or the child's diet has been fortified or he is being supplemented with vitamin A capsules as such or oral formulations as such, then this particular blindness can be reversible or can be prevented as such. It is critical to achieve the Millennium Development Goal 4 to reduce child mortality. Again, in severe cases, it will not lead to mortality as such, but when clubbed with other deficiencies, like if vitamin A is deficient, then it may make the body prone to different infections and the child may die due to such secondary infections. So hence preventing this deficiency is very important. So moving on to some statistics of this particular disease. So why is this vitamin A deficiency a severe problem? Because every year about 250,000 to 500,000 malnourished children in developing world usually go blind every year because of deficiency of vitamin A. So you can see the number of children is very high. Around 2.5 lakh to 5 lakh people or children every year go blind. The United Nations Special Session on Children in 2002 basically set a goal of VAD elimination by 2010. Still, this problem has not been solved, so it is yet a major problem which needs to be managed by supplementing the children's food. The prevalence of night blindness is mainly due to VAD and is also high among pregnant women in many developing countries as well. VAD basically also contributes to not only child mortality but also maternal mortalities in poor countries. This VAD deficiency in children or young children below the age of 12 months is mainly due to poor outcomes in pregnancy and lactation as such. Other than this, if there is a difficulty in dietary problems, for example, the uptake of vitamin A is affected because of poor absorption, or there is fibrosis, pancreatic insufficiency, inflammatory bowel disease, or small bowel bypass surgery, then also iron deficiency, all these things can also lead to vitamin A deficiency other than it being absent in your daily diet. Again, one of the major cause of vitamin A deficiency is your PM, that is primary PM, that is your malnutrition, that is protein energy malnutrition. This protein energy malnutrition, what does it do is it basically suppresses the synthesis of a protein. This protein is known as the retinol binding protein. Now, if a retinol binding protein is not synthesized, then obviously it will affect the uptake of retinol inside the blood cells. Now, due to this, it will lead to deficiency of retinol or vitamin A in the body. Other than this, there are social factors such as excess of alcohol consumption will deplete vitamin A. This mainly causes wherever there is excessive alcohol consumption, what is happening? There is an excessive stress on the liver, and the liver basically becomes more susceptible to vitamin A toxicity as such. Again, people consuming large amount of alcohol should seek medical advice before consuming any type of vitamin A supplement, because again this vitamin A toxicity associated with liver can affect that particular person to a greater extent. Generally, if they have any condition which is like I said, vitamin A is going to be your fat soluble vitamin. So if there is any condition which is associated with fat malabsorption, that is pancreatitis is there, then you have cystic fibrosis, you have tropical spurs, you have biliary obstruction. All these diseases are basically going to affect your fat absorption, and if fat is not absorbed properly, the vitamin which is going to be kept in the dissolved form in this particular state, its absorption will also be affected. Some other causes which of vitamin A deficiency are listed here. For example, most commonly it is inadequate intake, that is, you are not consuming. Usually one of the major sources, like we discussed in our first unit, one of the major sources of vitamins is coming from the animal sources. So you need to consume beef or red meat for getting vitamin A into your diet. But due to vegetarian diets or vegan diets, there is inadequate intake of vitamin A. Also, not only, okay, not to demoralize anyone, but also due to lack of consumption of green leafy vegetables, which are a good source of vitamin A if you are a vegetarian as well. So if all these things are not included in your diet, then obviously it will lead to deficiency of vitamin A in the body. And the second factor, like I said, is going to be fat malabsorption. If fat is not absorbed properly, again there is going to be a vitamin A deficiency in the body. Then the next factor is liver disorders. Different, if the liver is not functioning properly, again it is going to affect the body as well. This deficiency, basically vitamin A deficiency, will impair the immunity as well as hematopoiesis. Hematopoiesis is basically formation of red blood cells, and because of this disturbances in immunity and red blood cell formation, there are going to be different types of rashes as well as ocular effects. Ocular effects meaning vitamin A deficiency has a direct effect on the your eyesight or vision as such. So you can suffer from diseases such as keratopalacia, xerophthalmia or night blindness. Rather, indication of these diseases is mainly a deficiency of vitamin A as such. We move on to the clinical features of this particular disease. In this part of the video, we are going to try to understand what are the different symptoms associated with various vitamin A deficiency disorders. Now, this deficiency can either be ocular or extraocular. When we say ocular, we are trying to concern ourselves with deficiency disorders associated with vision or the eyes. Extraocular meaning anything or deficiency disorders anywhere else but the eyes. So when we talk about extraocular disorders, it is mainly going to have an effect on skin cells. So the extraocular disorders mainly include follicular hyperkeratosis, anorexia, growth retardation. Very obvious, if there is going to be absence of very major vitamin, growth retardation is going to be first and foremost seen. Second, anorexia, that is you do not feel like eating or consuming any type of food. The next type is follicular hyperkeratosis, which basically is a skin disorder in which the skin becomes highly dry. Then in ocular disorders, you have night blindness, you have conjunctival xerosis, we have biot spots, corneal xerosis and keratopalacia as such. So we will be talking about all these four types in detail now. So like I said, the most common cause of blindness in developing countries is the deficiency of vitamin A. The World Health Organization basically estimated in 1995 that about 13.8 million children had some degree of vision loss due to VAD. So 13.8 million is a large amount of children who suffer from VAD, and this blindness or night blindness can get worsened or may get developed into xerophthalmia if not treated or cured, or if the child's diet is not supplemented with vitamin A as such. So basically these night blindness or xerophthalmia serve as markers or signs that there is a deficiency of vitamin A in the diet as such. Other than this, VAD includes collection of keratin in the conjunctiva, which is known as biot spot. So there is basically, we'll see the images as well. Biot spots ke andar, if the child is suffering, there is a pale, triangular, yellowish or you can say whitish ulceration or necrosis in ulcers or spot-like structure which is going to be present in the cornea. Then there is another condition known as keratopalacia, which is ulceration, necrosis of the cornea. In this case, what happens is the cornea becomes very dry or liquid-like, not exactly dry but very liquid. So it is like melting of your eyes as such. Then night blindness, like I said, nylectopia is the earliest sign. That is, night blindness is one of the major signs of vitamin A or retinol deficiency. Other than this, one major thing which VAD leads to is impairment of immune function. What happens is vitamin A is one of the major cofactors for many enzymes as well as vitamin A is involved in formation of different types of T cells as such. So if T cells ही produce नहीं होंगे, तो then what will happen? The immune function, that is the reception of your antibodies or recognition by the T cells and passing on the signal to your B cells will be affected indirectly. So in this way, immune function will be impaired. Other than this, it can also lead to cancers of certain types and birth defects as well. So this is a figure indicating keratomalacia. Keratomalacia, like you can see, there is liquefaction of your eyes in this. Then next is conjunctival xerosis. Again, one of the major epithelial defects which occurs around lateral aspects of the limbus in the subclinical stage of VAD. So here what is happening? Just a moment. So if you see this particular diagram, the first picture basically shows you conjunctival xerosis, where you can see there is lateral spots or redness or a very muddy wrinkly appearance in the eye. So this is what you mean by lateral aspect of limbus in the subclinical stage. So there is a wrinkly muddy appearance, and these conjunctival defects are not visible under the biomicroscope as such, right? So to make this visible, usually what is done, you use a black stain so that the eye becomes, or this particular muddy appearance gets instillated as such. So you can either use kajal or surma, and this particular sign of identifying is known as the imtiaz's sign as such. Other than this, like I said, the biot spot basically indicates presence of a triangular, pale whitish structure near your eyes in case of young children. As in case of adults, you can see a presence of a small pale yellowish dots in the eye. This basically indicates that initially the child was suffering from this particular disease as such. Then the second one, or the last image below, talks about corneal xerosis. So instead of the conjunctivita, the cornea is now can be seen as a muddy or wrinkly dry-like appearance. Vitamin A deficiency, like I said, is one of the several hypovitaminoses which is implicated in follicular hyperkeratosis. So in this, this is a, like I said earlier also, it is a extraocular infection in which the the skin gets affected, whereas the skin gets a very scaly appearance as such. Now we will talk about your night blindness or nactylopia in detail. So first and foremost, the major symptom associated with night blindness is that there is going to be difficulties of the eye to adjust to dim light, and the affected individual will basically not be able to distinguish images in low levels of illumination. So in dark, or you can simply say at night, the vision is going to be very poor. So poor vision in darkness, but if normal light is provided, they can see quite normally. This mainly occurs due to inhibition in production of rhodopsin. Rhodopsin is basically an eye pigment which is responsible for sensing low light stimulus. So if you see this diagram, the first one or the middle part of this particular diagram shows your normal vision, or the case of night blindness, whereas the left side and the right side, you can see the images clearly where the area is illuminated. So the middle part basically talks about night blindness as such. We will talk about what do you mean by rhodopsin and how is it affecting or causing your night blindness. So rhodopsin is a photosensitive pigment. It is basically found in the retina in your eyes. It is made up of retinal. Now retinal occurs in two forms. It occurs either in the cis form or the trans form. The cis form is basically the active form of vitamin A, and this retinal is associated with yet another protein known as opsin. So the body cannot create retinal in sufficient amounts, and even if the body is not able to create retinal in even amounts, you should be supplementing your food with vitamin A. And if the diet is low in vitamin A, this leads to basically a decreased amount of rhodopsin in the eye. And this particularly decreased or inadequate amount of retinal will lead to blindness because there is inadequate supply of retinal which cannot bind to the opsin nerve. Another cause of night blindness can be loss of your goblet cells in conjunctivitis. So not only loss of rhodopsin but also loss of goblet cells can result in night blindness. Goblet cells are basically responsible for secretion of mucus, and or basically their function is to keep your eyes moist as such. And if they are absent, then what will happen? There will be a condition known as xerophthalmia. That is, there is going to be the eyes will basically fail to produce tears as such. The epithelial cells or the dead goblet cells and the microbial cells basically start to then accumulate in the conjunctiva and form debris that can lead to infection and also lead to possible blindness. So decreasing night blindness basically requires improvement of vitamin A status at a risk population group. This is mainly carried out by supplementing the child's food or fortifying the food or the midday meals with vitamin A as such. Supplement treatment for night blindness basically includes massive doses of vitamin A of about 200,000 international units in the form of retinal palatate. This can be either taken by mouth or administered by IVs to children between the age of 2 to 4 years as such. Other than this, if you are using IVs or intramuscular injections, these retinal injections are poorly absorbed, and that is why it is very insufficient and not very commonly used delivering agent of vitamin A. So usually what is done is fortification of food. Because vitamin A is very costly, it is done in case of that you are mainly fortifying cereals such as wheat, or you are fortifying sugar and milk with vitamin A. So in rural areas, what happens is vitamin A capsules or tablets cannot be purchased very easily due to its high cost. So usually government tries to imply various schemes so that households may circumvent this inexpensive fortified food by altering their dietary habits and including those foods such as green leafy vegetables, increasing lactation so that the amount of vitamin A in the child's diet is increased. Other than this, you have to consume citrus fruits or yellow orange fruits which are mainly rich in beta carotenes to be specific, because this beta carotene is going to be the precursor for synthesis of vitamin A. By consumption of such foods, vitamin A related night blindness can be prevented, and the conversion of carotenes to retinal basically varies from person to person depending on the genetic makeup and also depending upon the bioavailability of carotene in the food which the person is consuming. Other than all these infections, or if any infection is persisting in an individual, it may basically deplete vitamin A reserves and because of depletion of these vitamin A reserves, the child or the individual suffering from this infection may become even more susceptible to further infections. So what is happening in this case is there is increased incidences of xerophthania after measles or any viral type of disease. So if a person is suffering or an individual is suffering from any type of viral disease, there is going to be depletion of vitamin A due to basically, like I said, its role in formation of T cells. So because of this, what will happen is the immunity will drop further and the chances of the person suffering from xerophthania will increase. Also because of this, the person may get yet another secondary infection which can be correlated with the mortality associated with severity of eye diseases. So in many longitudinal studies had been carried out to study this particular part, and those studies basically reported that those studies were basically carried out on preschool children, and these studies basically reported that susceptibility to disease basically increased sustainability when severe VAD was present. Like I said, vitamin A is basically involved in production of or synthesis of T killer T cells, which requires retinol as the metabolite or retinic acid to proliferate correctly. So if retinic acid gradient or ligand is not present, then what will happen? Whatever receptors which are present, known as the retinic acid receptors, will not get any ligand, and the signals will be not passed further, and the proliferation of the T cells will be blocked. And this this binding or no binding of ligand will promote specific transcriptional regions on the genes which stimulate T cell replication as such. So this was all about your symptoms and infections, signs, symptoms and infections of your vitamin A deficiency. We move on to the last part, that is treatment and prevention strategies. So after seeing this part of the video, we will be mainly able to understand or discuss about what are the different treatment, diagnostics and preventive strategies associated with VAD, as well as what scheme has the Government of India employed for eliminating this particular problem. So we will be mainly talking about diagnosis, treatment and prevention. So vitamin A deficiencies can be diagnosed by a number of tests. First and foremost, clinical science के ऊपर इसका diagnosis होता है. So if there is any sign of night blindness as such, then directly you can conclude that there is a problem associated with vitamin A deficiency. Other than that, a test is available known as the conjunctival impression cytology test, which is used to basically assay the presence of xerophthalmia. If xerophthalmia or muddy, wrinkly appearance of the eye is seen, then you can strongly correlate this xerophthalmia condition with the deficiency of vitamin A. Other than this, you can directly measure the body fluids for levels of vitamin A by performing your HPLC. HPLC results are going to be obviously the most reliable because it is going to be a quantitative test rather than a qualitative test. You can use different types of biochemical tests as well. So measurement of plasma retinol levels is one of the most common laboratory assays to diagnose the presence of vitamin A deficiency. Other than this, you can also use biochemical assessments which mainly talk about plasma retinal ester levels, plasma urinary retinoic acid levels, as well as level of vitamin A in your breast milk. So all these tests can be carried out in your laboratories as well. Now for treatment, basically two formulations or two forms of vitamin A are available: the oral form of vitamin A or the injectable form of vitamin A. Both these basically use vitamin A palmitate as the source for treatment. So when we talk about the oral form, supplementation with vitamin A is basically very helpful in reducing morbidity. It also helps in reducing severe diarrhea and mortality from measles and all causes of mortality as such. Vitamin A supplements of children under 5 years are usually given to those kids who are at a high risk of getting VAD, and they can reduce. Supplementing the child's diet with VADs with capsules of vitamin A can basically reduce the mortality rates due to night blindness in children by 23%. Next, elimination of vitamin A deficiencies basically includes vitamin A supplements to be included in form of capsules. Now this particular program was basically adapted by National Immunization Days. So along with vaccines for polio and measles, the children were also given capsules containing retinol or vitamin A, so that this problem can also be treated along with your polio and measles. Other than this, the delivery of vitamin A supplements during integrated child health events such as health days or in your Anganwadis, open houses are conducted during midday meals every 6 months. Vitamin A capsules are included in the diet as well. So these particular programs basically have helped to ensure high coverage of vitamin A supplements to large number of children in the country. So according to the UNICEF data, in 2013, worldwide 65% of children between ages of 6 to 59 months were fully protected by giving them 2 high doses of vitamin A supplements. So these capsules are quite cheap actually. That is why such you can say good results were obtained because of trying to supplement the kids with 2 doses of vitamin A. So these capsules usually cost about $0.02 US as such. These capsules are very easy to handle, and you do not need any specific storage conditions. They can be stored at room temperature. You do not need a specific vaccine carrier, refrigeration, or any particular special conditions to store this. So if correct dosage is given, vitamin A capsules are very safe. They do not have any seroconversion effects or negative effects as such, even when supplemented with vaccines. So because of this, a huge amount of children huge number of children were basically treated. However, because of benefits of vitamin A supplements are transient meaning they are not long lasting, you need to give these children vitamin A capsules regularly, which is every 4 to 6 months. Otherwise, if these doses are not given regularly, night blindness may be resumed. Yet another strategy other than using direct capsules is food fortification. Food fortification was found to be very useful for improving vitamin A deficiency. So basically a large amount of food can be fortified. You have oils which can be fortified, then in dry forms the retinol esters, the retinol acetates, the retinol palmitates, which are available in dry forms also to bring about fortification. So all these retinic acids are basically the precursors of vitamin A. Again, your Marigrain and oils are the ideal vehicle because, like I said, vitamin A is a fat soluble vitamin. So oils are going to be one of the easiest food vehicle for fortification. Along with this, they also protect the oxidation of vitamin A during storage. And like I said, because of the nature of the vitamin being fat soluble, the absorption of this vitamin in the intestine also becomes quite easy if it is given in form of oil. Other than this, beta carotenes and retinyl acetates or retinyl palmitates can be used as a direct consumption form of vitamin A for fortification of fat-based food. Now this was about oils. Like I said, you can also fortify sugar with your retinyl palmitate. So this as a form of vitamin A is mainly used throughout Central America. So not only sugars but also your cereal flours, milk powder, liquid milk can be used as a source of vitamin A fortification. Other than this, food grains, mainly your wheat, is fortified with vitamin A. Now other than this, yet another strategy had been adapted, which is genetic engineering, which can be used to fortify food. So golden rice is one of the major genetically modified project in which the beta carotene in the rice was increased with the help of genetic engineering, and thereby can be used to prevent or treat VAD. Now this was quite controversial because it can be used as a great strategy as well, because production of golden rice using genetic engineering increases the percentage of beta carotene by 18 folds in the particular brand of rice, but the consumption of such rice has problems as such. So not many countries basically allow the production of such genetically modified products. But in 2018, I think your Philippines basically tried to get allowance for production of this type of rice as well. Other than this, you can have dietary diversification also, which can be used to control VAD. So dietary diversification basically includes consumption of green leafy vegetables as well as promotion of your milk and milk products, which will increase the amount of VAD in the diet. Other than this, the non-animal source, like I said, mainly includes fruits, vegetables which contain preformed vitamin A. All this basically accounts for greater than 80% of the intake for most of the individuals in the developing world. And the increase in consumption of vitamin A rich foods of animal origin has basically seen to have more beneficial effects on VAD. So when we talk about animal sources, livers, beef liver, or you can say cod liver oil, like you can see over here, the stats have good amounts of vitamin A in them. Again, many research articles have been identified which say that other than your animal sources, genetically modified corn is also available, which is having a higher level of beta carotene in it, which can serve as a precursor of vitamin A. So this was all about the treatment strategies. We move on to the prevention and control. So usually 3 basic plans can be carried out. You can have a short-term plan in which you are going to administer large amount of vitamin A in a very short period. So in 6 months, every month the child is basically given large doses of vitamin A. Medium term is basically once the short-term treatment or deficiency disorder is prevented or treated as such, जिसके वजह से immediate जो effects दिख रहे थे वो कम हो गए, उसके बाद ही move to the medium term plan in which the child's food or the individual's food is basically fortified with vitamin A as such. So you can either use leafy vegetables, wheat, sugar, or oils which have been fortified with vitamin A. In long-term plans, basically there are strategies used for reduction or elimination of factors which are going to lead to ocular diseases. So in long-term plan, you can basically include vaccination strategies. During vaccines, the child is given capsules, promotion of breastfeeding, lactation, so that the vitamin A in the diet is basically maintained at a higher level. Other than this, there are large number of global initiatives. So many throughout the world, global efforts to support national governments in addressing the vitamin A deficiency has basically led to formation of a alliance, you can say, or a global alliance for vitamin A known as GABA. This is basically an informal partnership between 3 to 5 agencies namely the Nutritional International Institute, the Helen Keller International Institute, UNICEF, the World Health Organization, and the CDC as well. So all these have come together to form or basically solve the problems associated with your vitamin A deficiency. So about 75% of vitamin A required for supplementation of preschool aged children in low and middle income countries is supplied with vitamin A capsules through the partnership between UNICEF and Global Affairs of Canada. So in this way, you can see large number of initiatives have been carried out, and due to the efforts of these organizations, what has been seen that there is a lot of improvement in the survival rates or the mortality rates as well, and it is estimated that about 1.5 million deaths which occur due to the deficiency of vitamin A can be averted or avoided in almost 40 countries since 1998. Other than this, in 2013, the prevalence of vitamin A deficiency was basically 29% in low income and middle income countries, and it still remains the highest in the sub-Saharan Saharan African and South Asian countries. So there was a review which was published in 2017 which basically stressed that if the diet of a child till 5 years is supplemented with vitamin A, then there is going to be a 12% mortality reduction, as well as it is also going to be one of the major causes of preventing night blindness in such children. So in India also they have adapted to certain programs. This program is basically devised by the National Center of Nutrition in Hyderabad, and this program basically focuses on the following points. So the first point being promoting consumption of vitamin A rich food in pregnant and lactating women and also in children under 5 years of age. So due to this, what will happen? Night blindness as well as vitamin A deficiency can be prevented, and also give or promote breastfeeding in such children. Second, if there is occurrence of night blindness, then there should be first and foremost priority to be given to administration of massive dose of vitamin A to all the children who are prevalent to such disease up to 5 years of age. The first dose is of a you can say 1 lakh international unit, which is usually given with, which was actually usually given with your measles vaccine at 9 months of age. Second dose is a booster again, which is having 2 lakh international units of vitamin A, which is given after 9 months, usually in between 16 to 18 months. With this particular dose is given with DPT, your DPT vaccine. As like we have discussed earlier also, that this particular you do not need to go specially to get vitamin A supplements as such. Usually the government has employed schemes so that a child gets the vitamin A dose with the vaccine schedule itself. So after the second dose, the third dose is again a 2 lakh international unit dose, which is given every 6 months up to the age of 5 years for 6 children. And all the children with xerophthalmia should be treated at proper health centers as such. And those children who are suffering from measles should be given at least 1 dose of vitamin A every month if they haven't received it. So this particular vitamin A will basically help the child in developing antibodies against the viral infection as such. And in cases of severe malnutrition as well, additional doses of vitamin A needs to be given to the child. So this was all about your today's lecture. We will very quickly have a summary. In today's lecture, we talked about vitamin A deficiency with respect to causes. Causes is basically deficiency in diet because it is an essential nutrient, the dietary source of vitamin A. The quality and quantity of food is going to play an important role. Then talking about different signs and symptoms, night blindness is one of the major causes. Other than night blindness, you can also see xerophthalmia. You can have conjunctival xerosis, corneal xerosis, biot spots. You can also have keratomalacia as a symptom associated with this disease. Then we move on to the diagnosis part, where you can have number of diagnostic assays as well as HPLC can be used plasma to measure the plasma levels of vitamin A in your body or in your blood tissue as well. Then after this we move on to the prevention and treatment. So government has also employed the treatment strategy as well as the prevention strategy. The prevention strategy basically includes three stages: the short term, long term, and the intermediate stage. Whereas treatment basically includes supplementing the diet or fortification of food with vitamin A. Other than this, if there is a severe case of vitamin A deficiency, these oral formulations or oil-based formulations can be given to the children suffering from these diseases as well. So these are basically the student assignment in which you have to answer two questions. So the question number 1 being explain the signs and symptoms of vitamin A deficiency, and the question number 2 being describe the programs associated with prevention of vitamin A deficiency in India. After you complete your assignments, make sure that you upload these assignments on the Google Drive, or you can email it to me on the following email ID as well. In our next topic or in our next video, we will mainly be talking about fluorosis. This is again one of the disorders which is associated with absorption of the halogen ion fluorine, which is going to be present in water, which can lead to either dental fluorosis, skeletal fluorosis as well. So we will be talking about fluorosis, and if excess of fluorine is present in water, how is it going to affect your health or nutritional status as such. So this is it from my side today. Thank you so much. Have a good day.